This is the AEW Dynamite May 8, 2024 full show results video which takes place at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. The show opens with Adam Copeland being interviewed backstage and he says tonight it gets stopped, and his match tonight against Brody King will be no disqualification, and if the House of Black wanted the rated R superstar, tonight they got him. Then we saw a match between Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta, and the result of this match was Orange Cassidy defeated Trent Beretta by pinfall by taking advantage of an exposed turnbuckle. Post-match, Trent attacks Orange some more on the floor, taking him down for grounded punches, tearing at his forehead, and pulling the steel steps out, delivering piledriver on the stairs, and Orange recovers and gets a chair. Don Callis backs him off while Chris Statlander tries to talk sense into Trent. We get in the car with the Young Bucks as they pull into the arena and steal Tony Khan's parking spot since he won't be using it. Kenny Omega cuts a promo from a hospital bed and books Anarchy in the arena at Double or Nothing, the Elite of the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and Jack Perry against Team AEW of FTR and two men who will reveal themselves sooner than you expect, perhaps even tonight. Tony Schiavone interviews Serena Deeb on the stage and she talks about how important wrestling for the title is and how much she respects Toni Storm and why she can't afford to lose at Double or Nothing, which is that she was on the shelf for 15 months. She explains in more detail, admitting she had 3 unprovoked seizures, and it was very scary, and then Toni Storm rolls up and says she expected to hear from her challenger and not from a charity case, and she doesn't give a single solitary shit about any of the things she's been through. They go face to face. Tony tries to pull her in for an attack, and Deeb attacks, and lays her down. Rocky Romero checks on Orange Cassidy in the trainer's room and says if he beats Jay White, the two of them and a partner can get a trios title match. He pitches Tomohiro Ishii and Katsuyori Shibata as partners before saying maybe they can even mend the fences and team with Trent again, but that gets Orange to pull the glasses down and give him a hard no and say they'll figure something out. Then we saw a match between Harley Cameron versus Mariah May, and the result of this match was Mariah May defeated Harley Cameron by pinfall with Mayday. Post-match, Saraya attacks May and beats her down, but Mina Shirakawa makes the save and wipes Harley out with an Hurricane and she leaps into Mariah's arms but fakes out before the kiss, but she wants champagne and they have a drink and embrace. Pac is interviewed backstage and he says at this moment he's not concerned with Death Triangle, and Bullet Club Gold come walking by and Switchblade says Death Triangle is dead and Pac needs to be concerned about what's next for him after losing to Okada. White says he's beaten the Rainmaker and maybe he should go after him to add more gold to the Bang Bang Gang's horde, but first he has to fight Rocky Romero to teach Pac a thing or two about winning. Shane "Swerve" Strickland makes his entrance and gets on the mic and he says he's pissed off and in a fighting mood and shows us footage of the Patriarchy attacking him last week by way of explanation and calls Christian Cage out, and Cage comes out with the Patriarchy. Cage says after Double or Nothing when the walls are crashing in and Swerve's house has been foreclosed on, he'll still be able to see gold by looking in the mirror and seeing his stupid gold teeth unless Christian takes those from them now. Swerve says he told his ass he wasn't coming alone, and Bishop Count, Toa Liona, and Brian Cage slide in the ring with him and Swerve asked Cage to take his championship now, but no, that'd put him in an uncomfortable position, and we all know when Christian is put in an uncomfortable post-Ion, he says, "I quit." Cage acts scared for a beat but Brian Cage attacks Swerve from behind. The rest of the Mogul Embassy joins in. Brian chucks Swerve over the ropes like a sack of potatoes. They beat Strickland down and set him up on the steps over the announce desk and delivered the powerbomb through the announce desk. The Patriarchy comes past the Bucks in Gorilla and they congratulate Cage on his beatdown and he says it's the start of a good working relationship. Willow Nightingale is interviewed backstage and she says physically she's not going great, but emotionally and spiritually you can't wipe the smile off her face, and of course, she's ready for Double or Nothing. But the real question is Mercedes Moné ready for her? Because she's been on the shelf for a year while Willow has gotten accolade after accolade and in a wrestling match, she's going to win. The next match happened between Switchblade, Jay White versus Rocky Romero, and the result of this match was Jay White won the match by pinfall with Blade Runner. Post-match, Bang Bang Gang beat Rocky down and Pac came down and Bullet Club ran away. We get a Samoa Joe training montage about the way a warrior is driven by the fear of an opponent he can't surmount, but he isn't the warrior that fears, he is the warrior that these men fear in the first place. The next match happened between Harlan Abbott and Mo Jabari versus Bill Morrissey and Chris Jericho, and the result of this match was the Learning Tree won the match by pinfall with a chokeslam from Big Bill Morrissey. Post-match, Jericho cuts a promo and makes some kind of mistake the locals get upset about, and he apologizes again before saying he'd be on Dynamite 2 hours straight if he could. He talks about how we haven't seen Hook since he essentially hit himself in the face with a baseball bat, but he should take as long as he likes to consider the lessons taught him by the Learning Tree. Tony Schiavone slides into the ring to inform us that Hook will be back next Wednesday on Dynamite, and Jericho says we'll all celebrate together. In the main event of the show, we saw a no disqualification match between Adam Copeland versus Brody King for the AEW TNT Championship, and the result of this match was Adam Copeland defeated Brody King by pinfall with a spear to retain the AEW TNT Championship. Post-match, Brody attacks Copeland and Kyle O'Reilly makes the save. Mercedes Moné is interviewed backstage and she talks about how she's going to be promoting AEW at various sporting events, and she'll be in the gym whenever she isn't, and she'll be ready for Willow Nightingale at Double or Nothing. She said she lost a year of her career she can never get back. Adam Copeland and Kyle O'Reilly are interviewed backstage, and Copeland thanks Kyle for having his back, and Kyle asks him for a favor at Collision. He wants a title match in his hometown, and Adam agrees to give him a title shot in Vancouver. The Elite make their entrance, and the Young Bucks say the show doesn't end until they say it's over, and they asked for Overrun to share their important message. First on their agenda, in this terrible country of Canada, Kazuchika Okada has a note for Kenny Omega, and Okada calls Kenny out and tells him to get well soon. Speaking of unwell people, Matthew tells Tony Khan he's the best boss he ever worked for, and he just wishes he got out of his own way and saw that they were trying to make AEW a better place. Nicholas Jackson accepts the challenge for Anarchy in the Arena and says they run the damn show. FTR comes, and Dax Harwood says after a little bit of convincing they found a couple of guys with big enough balls to fight the Elite. Eddie Kingston is here, and so is the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. Team AEW is complete. They square up with the Elite and attack over the objections of Matthew Jackson and referees and Agent Swarm to break them up, and the show goes off the air.